Hey, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is a show all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager, a farmer, or a food producer selling at farmers markets, or just a curious farmers market shopper, this is the podcast for you. On today's episode, we're talking with Nick Burton of Victory Gardens Farm and the Bootstrap Farmer. We chat with him about how he got started with all his great businesses and how he found the value in value-added products at the farmers market.
Hi, I'm Kat Fields-White. I'm the director of San Diego Markets. We operate 2, soon to be 3, farmers markets in San Diego County, and I'm also the founder of the Intense Business Program with our conference and Vendor 101 classes.
I'm Justine Marzoni-Meat. I'm a hot sauce maker, farmers market vendor, and the event facilitator for the Intense Conference.
And hey, I'm Bridget Myers. I've spent many years on site as a farmers market manager and now do some behind-the-scenes work doing education with Vendor 101 and pulling permits and social media marketing for our markets.
Thanks for joining us today. Our guest this week is Nick Burton from Paris, Texas. So we've all been traveling here. Nick's been on the road from Texas. I'm frankly incredibly jet-lagged because I just got back from the UK where we talked to a lot of farmers and market managers. Nick, though, is a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. He's the owner of Victory Gardens Farm and the Victory Lunch Club in Paris, Texas. He's the creative director for Bootstrap Farmers. He's founder of State of the Soil Media, which offers online tools, resources, and one-to-one consulting for small farms and especially startup farms. And he hosts his own podcast called Bootstrap Farmer Radio. Welcome, Nick. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always good to catch up with you guys.
Are all those names right? Bootstrap Farmers, Bootstrap Farmer
Bootstrap
Radio?
Farmer, yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, just to give people a little background, I know that you do a lot of different things. You are the king of the side hustle. Your side hustles have side hustles,
Pretty
it
much,
seems like.
pretty
So, but what's your background in the food industry? Do you have a background in the food industry? I know you had a big landscape business, right?
As I was getting that landscape business off the ground, I was a waiter for 4 years, and I very much enjoyed it. I've always cooked, so that love of cooking and all that kind of thing, the love of hospitality and service just kind of directed the farm along the way to what we do.
Cool. I think restaurant is so important. I'm highly suspicious, actually, of somebody who's never waited tables or worked in a kitchen.
I would wait tables like at any given point. I love it. I love interacting with the people. I miss it very much in some days.
And you can always go back.
Yeah, I think people who have done it always kind of feel that little longing for it. I know every time I'm at a restaurant, I was like, oh, waiting tables was so much fun. You know, it's just like the connection that never goes away.
It's this weird abusive grind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, wait, I hate it. No, I do
still
love
have
it.
waitressing nightmares.
Yeah.
Like I realized that I have like a table of 30 that I haven't even like gotten waters for.
And
no one has menus.
There's nobody in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You get triple sat and like no one's helping.
Yeah.
Right.
You have no roll-ups.
Yeah. I think still love it.
Forget mandatory military service. I think that everybody in America should be required to wait tables for a year.
Absolutely.
It gives you a sense of empathy,
Yeah.
hard work, and a crazy camaraderie and tribe.
Yeah, it teaches you how to build friendships, I think, you know.
Yeah.
And it takes your sarcastic level up to,
Yeah.
professional
Yeah,
grade.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Humor. You got to laugh or cry. So how did you make your way from restaurant and landscaping to farmers markets?
The connection was the next natural step for us. I knew I couldn't mow yards forever, right? Mm-hmm. So we did open up a retail nursery and at the same time opened up a hydroponic farm. Well, the first year was great in the retail nursery, and then we had 2 years of rain, like nonstop and you have a very small window where we live between March 1st through Mother's Day. And if you don't sell your stuff then, that's the season. Mm-hmm. So 2 years of rain, but the hydroponics was indoors. It was in the greenhouse, and that really sustained us for those 2 years. So we dropped the thing that was costing us the most. I mean, having a retail store, you had to stay open and you had a bunch of labor versus closing down to the public, just having the farm, focusing on the lunch club, and that's how that came about. And then we started going to the farmers markets.
And what were we selling at farmers markets? What are you selling at? So I think you've kind of shifted a little bit, if I understand correctly. But what did you start out selling at farmers markets?
We started out we've only done added value products. We've always had a commercial kitchen on the farm, so we have the ability to take everything that we grow, take other products. Like I wasn't solely focused on everything had to come from our farm. We just wanted everything from our farm to be pre-sold. So we were making hummuses and salsas and pestos and primarily salads, which was the Victory Lunch Club, which is a salad subscription service to offices.
Gotcha. And then would you sell the salads at the farmer's market?
I would sell the salads at the farmer's market. The Victory Lunch Club was like a weekly. It changed every single week, and then these were more like a typical garden salad.
Gotcha. And then did you sell any just straight produce or just value-added stuff?
Only
value-added. Okay.
I've never done any straight produce.
Now, you're in Texas. Here in California, that's two completely different sections of the market. You can't sell hummus or produce from somebody else's farm.
Is that why you denied my...
On your application?
Also have to be in the state of California.
You're going to come out for the summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've got reports as we've traveled of how hot it was there, and I'm like, well, I'm freezing in San Francisco, and then I get told some very bad things on the phone.
Yeah, so funny, right? Very odd. So is there that regulation in Texas, or is it all just one market? It doesn't matter where you are. Can you sell hummus and things in the... I mean, do you have a certified market versus a non-certified?
We have one market.
Do you know the rules?
It's not a free-for-all, but it's not regulated anywhere near what it is out here.
So it's not a free-for-all. Is that what you're saying?
It's delicate. How about that?
Okay, all right. We won't go there.
It's ran by people that aren't farmers that... we don't have enough space now, but when I started, that was very much the case. It was about half empty, and over the last couple of years, it's very much grown.
Oh, good.
Very nice. Everybody has great intentions there. I love the community. I love being a part of it. It's just one of those things that it had never been truly established.
Right.
So we had to find our place as a market. And
Gotcha.
Now everybody, we have people that can. We have... I'm there. There's another food truck there, and then there's a few craft kind of people. But
producers as well. Do you have some farmers
we
there?
Do. We're about. I would say we're 30-35% producers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So it's developing in a nice way.
They're so good at what they do. So
right.
It's a good community to be a part of, and the market manager's really done a good job working with everybody. She's very open to new ideas and wants to work with everybody. So it's nice. Nice. She just doesn't have the background like you have, and she comes from a very municipal outlook.
I'm laughing over here because are you assuming that I had some kind of background in farmers markets before I started the first market? Because it's so not true.
He's saying dynamic background.
That's it. Yeah.
We can talk off.
Yeah. We'll talk about it, please. Yeah, but so Victory Garden Farms, you've got the value added there. State of the soil?
State of the soil. When we started our farm, we went to a school, a hydroponic workshop kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I was that guy that was worried about everything, how much this, how much that. And I didn't realize how much I was worrying about problems that didn't exist because it was so early on. Mm-hmm. And then I went through my first season, really didn't have any problems. I went back to the school to get a different outlook on it now that I'd been practicing for about a year. There's a few months, and I saw myself and some of the students there just freaking out about nothing. And I looked at the guy and I was like, it's really not that hard, it's stuff to worry about. And 2 months later, they asked me to come speak. And then that started a chain of speaking events because we do things a little different. And then State of the Soil was just my desire to help other people, look at the business end of things, look at the marketing end of things. State of the Soil started out as a marketing kind of platform to help encourage people to get out and market their own stuff and getting out in front of people and that kind of thing. And then over the last couple of years, it evolved into more entrepreneurial mindset kind of things, and that's kind of where Brandon and I met and made the connection. And then he asked me to come on, and it was just a natural thing to work with somebody, not be on my own anymore, but to work with a company that really got my values and I understood their values, and it was a great mix.
So has State of the Soil sort of merged into Bootstrap Farmer?
We'll let you know when we figured it out.
Okay, yeah, still kind of shaking that thing down. But both of those organizations are educating small farmers and especially startup farmers, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, great. And do you suggest to them that they do farmers markets, your clients?
It all depends on what they want to do. We like to look at things. What can your market bear? What are your skill sets? What kind of lifestyle do you want to build? And if the farmer's market fits into that, then yes. But if they want their Saturdays, or they don't necessarily like dealing with the public, maybe the farmer's market's not such a good fit. So it's really taking an inward look at what do you want to build your life around? What do you want to farm? And is there a place to go? Is there a place that's going to fit what you want to do and what your farm does?
Right. So some of the other outlets they use are selling to restaurants or going to brokers?
Selling to restaurants, going straight. It's awful hard for the farmers that we work at their scale to sell to one of the national distributors. But working with some specialty food outlets, for sure, maybe opening up. There's a big misconception about a commercial kitchen, and we've gone all over the states, and some are highly regulated and some are, there's not that much you need to do. So the investment in a small kitchen has paid enormous dividends, and that's definitely something you could do with yourself, even if you didn't want to sell it. Maybe like we sold at gyms, we sold at boutiques. There's the food truck option, which we explore a lot. They're selling to bars, which I think is a very underserved market.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a lot of that here. We've got some of our good bakers and value-added folks that are doing sandwiches or salads or what have you, selling to some of the bars here that don't have their own kitchens, actually.
Yeah.
And they have to sell a certain amount of food to keep their liquor license, but they're allowed to kind of piece this thing together where somebody else is bringing in the food ready to go.
Well, even if you look at specialty herbs and the way the craft cocktail industry is kind of going through a really nice renaissance, there's a lot of opportunities to make syrups and tonics and tinctures and that kind of thing, or take those herbs to them so they can do it themselves.
So that's something that you're doing now at the farmers markets. Actually, you've gotten into kind of a different sort of value-added thing with the mocktails. Tell us about that. Are you selling the tinctures and bitters and that kind of stuff, or are you selling actual drinks? You've got martini glasses out there at the farmers markets.
Yeah, well, they're in compostable cups, they're 20-ounce cups, but
that's a healthy size mocktail.
Well, you can order it short if you need to.
Okay, right.
Our marketing was hashtag bring back the flask, so we're openly encouraging drinking in public. So. But I bought a food truck last fall with the intention of doing something with it at the market. So we kind of played around this year, but the cocktail thing has always kind of been a passion of mine in the background, and we've been working on an herb program to service that industry. So I was like, I got to try it out. We got to test it, to see if we know what we're talking about, kind of thing. So we're doing lemon and limeade based drinks. We're making our own soda on the truck. And then we're taking these herbs and picking them fresh. We're making simple syrups the day ahead. So it's like lemon limeade, simple syrup, very herby. And then we'll do some frozen drinks as well.
Wow, what a great idea.
Yeah, really good idea. I just came back from the UK, and one of the big brands that was at this conference that I was at is called Seedlip. It's a really big brand in the UK. I think it's now coming over here. You can get it maybe at Bevmo, a couple of places in the States. But it essentially is distilled to taste like gin and variations of gin. One of them's a little more rummy. One of them's real juniper-y, kind of ginny. But it's non-alcoholic. So it's for people that want to have a gin and tonic, but they're not drinking for whatever reason, health or sobriety or what have you. Really interesting drinks that are non-alcoholic and are being offered in a lot of different places, including a couple of the pop-up food markets and farmers markets that I was at there.
And that's pretty similar to what we're doing, because we're trying to get that essence without the alcohol. So we're doing like a maple juniper simple syrup. We're doing agave with a saltwort herb on there to kind of get that tequila flavor with a bunch of lime. And so we're playing around with capturing the essence. All these things are distilled from farm goods, so there's a way to bring that in and incorporate it without it being alcoholic.
But you're selling it all in cups, right? You're not selling jars of
correct
simple syrups and things, or not simple syrups, but the flavored syrups.
Correct. I mean, right now I do have a luxury where we can play with stuff and see how things go and test the market in real time without having to invest in bottlers. If we were to start getting, hey, can we get this? And we would look at it, but right now we're playing. Yeah,
and you bring Justine and Dave in to consult with you on how to get things in bottles.
I will test whatever cocktail you make.
Well, I was thinking you could help them with the bottling side, being the hot sauce manufacturer. But mocktail testing's good too.
Yeah,
there you go.
It goes along with it.
I'm assuming you're not serving actual alcohol at your farmers markets. It's mocktails.
You can assume all you want.
Oh,
Depends.
They're back to that flask.
Do they know the secret knock on the truck? No,
There
it's legit. very much non-alcoholic.
So what name are you doing the mocktails under? Is it still Victory Gardens?
It's Victory Gardens for right now, but
because I think you need another business name to manage.
yeah,
Kind of like me, you got a lot of.
You better believe there's a domain bot already. So
Sure there is.
You'll know when it drops.
Absolutely. So what's next? You've done salads, you've done hummus, you've done dips, you've done mocktails. Are you still expanding the whole value added thing?
We're actually condensing the farm. My role at Bootstrap, thankfully, is taking up a lot of time. That's an enormous amount of fun. We're able to help a lot of people, and it's just the calling that I've always been looking for. So now that I have somebody I can work with, that's a lot of fun to be around, and I believe in the company. I'm looking at my own farm going, I don't want to lose that. I still think it's very important to still be a practitioner and have my pulse on what's going on in farming, to know how it feels to go to market and have a rough day or
right.
an extraordinary day, no matter how it is. And I also have employees I have to take care of. But we're finding ways to not farm such a large area, condense it down. We're really looking at and focusing on those herbs right now and looking at what that kind of program can look at or can be.
So you're not adding any new products now, just kind of going deeper on some of your other stuff,
Correct.
mocktails and such.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you don't take your produce or what you farm to the market. You're just doing value. You're taking it to your commercial kitchen.
Everything gets
making
processed.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then taking it to the farmer's market.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing with the truck, because we have a truck full of refrigerators. We make it in the, a food truck is pretty tight.
Yeah.
So we make everything in the kitchen that's on the farm, load up the truck, out we go.
Oh, cool. Do you rent out as commissary space, or you just keep that kitchen for yourself?
It's just mine. Yeah.
Anytime I hear about a good commercial kitchen, I'm like, tell me where it is. I want to see that commercial
Well, it's
kitchen.
in Texas, Justine, but there's shipping, you can travel back and forth.
You would be in Paris for like 5 minutes and go, why does anybody live in a place that's this hot or this cold? It's just, we're either hot or cold.
Yeah, we're pretty spoiled. It's great to have that commercial kitchen on site, though.
Yeah, and that was, at the same time, we never did not have a commercial kitchen. That was always part of our program.
Right.
I had a building that was empty, and we just converted it over very fast, and it's just always been there for us. And it's a move, very serendipitous move early on that has really dictated the last 5 years of all of our operations and what we have going, because we have so much more flexibility with what we do. Even if we have a small harvest, we can still turn it into something. If we have an enormous harvest, we can turn it into something.
More of something.
Yeah, we've got dehydrators, and
Oh, nice.
There's not a lot we can't do.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would say there's a farmer that was like, I really want to start doing more value added things at the farmer's market? Is that something you would suggest that is worth it to, make a small commissary or commercial kitchen on your property?
Gut reaction, yes. I would always, my answer is always test the market and see how it goes, but make sure there's enough market out there to sustain that. But building out that commercial kitchen, you have so much more flexibility. And look, we're a raw kitchen, so the things that we do have to heat up, like the simple syrups, we just have a really nice commercial one burner glorified hot plate,
right?
But everything else, and we have soup warmers and stuff like that when we'll go do a lunch or a catering event or something like that. But we don't have an oven. We don't have a stove.
It's not a heavy duty, full on commercial kitchen build out.
It's very much a raw processing. We have the ability to wash, cut, chop, throw stuff in the Vitamix,
which a lot of farmers have before you get to that Vitamix. But the washing and chopping and things, a lot of farmers are using that just even to take the produce to the market, just salad mixes and
just
things.
A spring mix,
all they're doing is just adding a little bit more to that if they want to add some value added.
And check your regulations. I always start at your county health department, see what they have to say. Maybe your county extension, and for sure the state agricultural extension. Say check with them. Disclaimer: always check with your lawyer. But you have to do your own due diligence, both with the legalities and the market bearing of it.
So you've got the whole farm side, and then you've got this education side. And is that because you think there's a lot of money in education? I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. There's just about as much money in teaching as there is in farming, right? Yeah. What kind of fool moves from one of those to the other? But is it because you enjoy the education, or because you want to you just like that sharing thing, or floating all boats as that tide's rising, or?
I was given an opportunity to tell our story, and I saw firsthand how that affected other people in a very positive way. And it forced me to do a lot of personal development, because if I'm trying to help somebody else, I have to be my best. So it really forced me to dig down and go, okay, how can I deliver something better? How can I really fully understand somebody else's point of view? So I had to do a lot of personal development to get to there. And in doing so, I learned, the more you give, the more you get back. I mean, my network right now is fantastic. I mean, look at all the places we've got to go over last year. I mean, it's a fun thing to do. And then listening to people that you've helped along the way and seeing them progress is very rewarding. No, there's not any money in it, kind of thing. But there's definitely a need for education in farming beyond what's happening at the state level, like with a free conference that the extension agents put on. And there's a time and a place for that. But for the farmer that really wants to make that a true business, instead of just, hey, we're kind of getting by, and interjecting that entrepreneurial mindset, building a life around something that you enjoy and that can help other people and it's good for the planet, everything. It's hard to start a business on a social wave. I'm doing this because of all these, that it's nice to have that as a byproduct, but unless the farm is able to continue, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely. We tell people that you've got to get your pricing right. If you won't do it for yourself, do it for your customers, because they're going to miss you when you're gone if you don't straighten out your costing and pricing and learn to make a living at what you do.
And this is an odd industry. We hear the vast majority of the time, I don't want to overcharge my customers. I don't want to take advantage of my customers. And that's just it's not the case. That's not how our clients feel about us.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
And it comes from, they haven't got out. They haven't explored all the possibilities that are out there. They're in a box. They very much just looking inward instead of talking to people and seeing what's truly going on in their own local place and seeing what other people are doing around the country. And with the internet, I mean, you can look anywhere. I mean, you can see what you're doing over here. You can see what they're doing in New York. You can see what they're doing in another country. Why not take some of that and just see what you can do with it?
Absolutely. Our customers are not, everybody's price sensitive. Everybody's only got so much money, but I think people are so much understanding the value of devoting a larger part of your income to food. It's, pay the farmer or pay the doctor kind of thing. There's so much awareness of that, and I think people really do value good food and knowing where your food's coming from. And I think farmers are still kind of catching up to the idea that what they do truly has value.
And it's something you just have to start adding a layer. Yes, I have vegetables. Well, now I do added value. Well, now I'm telling you a story, or now I'm educating you, and now I'm a part of this community. Once you start adding layers on, your price can go up and nobody flinches.
Absolutely.
If you're now that thing that somebody can't live without for the week, you're that important.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember these people have all these other things going on, so you can't take advantage of their time. You can't be, you have to, there's a balance in there between giving a story, giving education, and then being a pesky salesman.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but you do want to share and you want to build those relationships. And we all love our customers and we love the farmers and the food makers. It's a good relationship, not just within the market, but within the greater community of the market, the people that shop there.
We were talking about that a couple of days ago. You have a farm and you have your clients, and then if you're in a farmer's market, you're also part of a bigger ecosystem that you have a responsibility to the market manager, and you have a responsibility to the clients, and making sure that everybody's safe with their food, and making sure that you're presentable and you're not. You have to be a part of the community, a part of the market. So
That's the key.
that.
That's really what you're selling there. It's
Hold
not
it
just
in.
the food, it's the relationships and the community that you're building.
And then your customers are like really a part of you, and they're a part of the market. It's like you can't live without these certain items every week. I know I have stuff on my grocery list where it's like I have to go get those from the certain farmers, and so they're a part of my life just as much as they want me to be a part of their life. So it's a nice symbiotic relationship, I think.
Yeah. And I think you've probably found, like we have at Intense or at Vendor 101, where, which is sort of the precursor to Intense, that it's really gratifying to see somebody with a good idea and passion that when you take your first look at them, they're not going to make it, they're not going to survive, and they're going to spend a lot of their life savings and be frustrated. And if you just give them some knowledge, you can see those people develop into real business people and that are supporting their families with what they do and with what they enjoy doing.
And some of these can be very small tweaks or incremental, small steps. You can't hammer somebody, hey, change your whole life.
Right.
It's like, let's look at your signage. Let's look at the pricing. Let's look at the way you're presenting yourself. Let's look at this small little thing that you can do to make a big difference.
Could you tell us, just before we wrap up, a little bit more specifically about Bootstrap Farmer and where it came from and who I think we've had this conversation kind of assuming everybody knows. And of course, Bootstrap Farmer is a huge thing, and I'm sure everybody does know. But for those few people out there that aren't familiar with Bootstrap Farmer, can you give us a little bit more, just a quick specific background, who you are, who Brandon is in terms of making Bootstrap Farmer work, and what Bootstrap Farmer does?
Sure. It all started with Brandon. He had a farm himself, and that frustration, everybody knows what a 10-20 tray is. It's what we all propagate our seeds in, those little flimsy trays. And as farmers, we're not delicate people. Farming is a harsh environment. And as these trays broke, it just started with the question, where's the better tray? How come there's not a better tray out there? And there wasn't. Brandon took the initiative. He got outside of his comfort zone. He found a way to make that happen. He manufactured those things and put it out into the market. And that's expanded to, servicing greenhouse parts. And now kind of my role within that is taking kind of State of the Soil and making that part of their program and them influencing that in a way where let's really help this entrepreneurial mindset. So it's not just about trays. It's about a whole lot of just really good, solid information.
So Bootstrap Farmer does do two things, though. That you've got a kind of an educational side, and then you also sell supplies.
I think the education is just more of a give back. I mean,
Gotcha.
we're looking for a way to service the farmers that are using these trays, that are building out greenhouses, that are doing things. How can we make sure that they're successful? Very much like how Intense is. These are the people that are shopping with us because they want a better product. How can we make sure that on the backside we're fully servicing their needs as far as introducing them to new concepts and lifestyle development and that kind of thing.
Right. Which is how we're going to probably end up with a pallet of tents out front or something one of these days with the farmers market supply and all that. Well, it's been really nice having you here, and I know we're going to be on your podcast soon. So that's coming up too, so be sure and watch out for the Bootstrap Farmer podcast. Are you asking us a wrap-up question? What's our question of the week?
Yeah, our question for the week. And so we try to tailor it to whoever we have on with us this week. And so I think that you'll have some good answers to this, but we'll kind of go around. What's the coolest or cleverest value-added product you've seen another farmer add at the farmer's market?
I was in New York 2-3 weeks ago at the Union Square Farmer's Market. They have distillers there, and there was a potato farmer made their own vodka, and they had vodka that you could buy in a sub 3 ounce container that you could take back on the plane.
Oh,
It was the first time I'd seen that.
Wow.
And so,
that's smart.
As my goal in life, one of them is I want a gin from every state, right? So she didn't have gin, but as I go around to these farmers markets, I always pick up a bottle and I have to ship it back home to myself. But for me to be able to buy these cats for,
I'm all about those small sizes that you can get into a carry-on. I think that's a really good thing.
Is that why you're jet lagged?
Do you take a lot of gin home
I have
from
a few
UK?
little jars of Seedlip, which will not get you loaded, but will make it. There's probably, it's like Dumbo's feather. Like if you're drinking something that tastes like gin, I'm thinking you're going to get a buzz, whether it's alcoholic or not, right?
The placebo gin.
If we go to what's interesting, that's one of the reasons that we do these podcasts on the road. We have to get out and see what other people are doing in a regional level. Like right now, I'm very much at home. I kind of got to a slump for me. So I was like, I need to go out and get inspired. And I get inspired a lot by traveling, but to go to all these different farmers markets and to see, we stopped at one of the Portland farmers markets, and these people were doing tarts, and they were decorating these tarts with herbs and berries, very similar to how I was doing the mocktails. That's a really great product, and the line was through the roof, and it was the whole market there was very nice, but that one particular vendor taking that much time to make that product artisanal, it was nice.
Yeah, definitely. Kat, what do you think? What have you seen?
I just saw somebody doing frozen meatballs that was a meat farmer. which I thought was
that's
very
a really
clever.
good idea.
Because if they're growing any herbs at all, or if they've got chicken so they've got an egg, you just need a binder in there. Even in California, you could actually get that into the certified market as long as you were raising the meat and then chopping it and things. I always think our chicken farmers should sell hard-boiled eggs at the market.
Oh, yeah.
It would be so
Easy.
simple.
Especially in morning market.
Especially in morning market, right?
yeah.
Somebody, every once in a while you're looking for a protein thing. I mean, the cinnamon rolls and stuff are great, but somebody just wants a quick protein, and that same egg that you're going to get, even at our high-end markets, you're going to get maybe $7 or $8 a dozen for that. You could sell a hard-boiled egg for $1.50.
Yeah.
One.
Even 7-Eleven has that figured
That's
out because
right.
they have.
They come in those little bags.
And here's the thing. There's no machine that takes the shell off, so I just can't wrap my head around buying a 7-Eleven egg.
No, but I think a nice pastured bright orange yolk hard-boiled egg for $1.50, I'd be all over
Put it
those.
next to a salt vendor.
Yeah, exactly right. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
have your hot sauce there.
Everyone working the market would get those, I think, because
Yeah.
we're there for 9.5 hours. We need like a snack that's going to sustain you.
For
My
sure.
cinnamon roll sugar crash happens about halfway through the market,
Yeah,
so it'd be
absolutely.
nice to perk back up. Yeah.
But these were just a variety of meatballs. It actually was at the market in Kitsilano in Vancouver, Canada, and they had all kinds of different meats. So they had lamb meatballs, and they had beef meatballs, and they had chicken meatballs actually that had kind of a little teriyaki spice to them or something. But they were in frozen bags you could take home and cook up real quick. And then they actually were also selling them in a dish. So it was smart. They were hitting it on all cylinders, I thought.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Nice.
Okay, mine's not food, but I just saw on Saturday that one of the flower vendors was selling these like really pretty like summer wreaths, and I realized that I still have my Christmas wreath on my door, and it's super bleached and it's like all just like brown. So I was like, I need to get a summertime wreath. So
There you go.
I just think that's just really nice, if possible, if the regulations let them do that with
Right. Yeah, but again, that's something where what you're going to pay for a bouquet full of cut flowers versus what you're going to pay for a wreath, perceived value, that's going to give you so much more income.
It's going to be on my front door for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that the nursery and like the flower vendors can do with that. We think of just food value added, but our regulations are really tight in San Diego. But I've seen a lot of really great arrangements and potted plants and bouquets and boutonnieres and stuff like that farmers can offer people as a nice value added. That's simple for them because they have all the materials there and all the flowers, and it's something unique. But then it's something really that the consumers really want, that quality. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
I think within those regulations, that's being constricted forces you to be more creative.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
I think there's not a way around the regulations, but there's definitely a way to push through.
Absolutely.
So if they couldn't have wire, for instance, to make these wreaths, well, maybe that's time to do a shop or to have some type of handout or a book they could sell at the market. I mean, who knows? But
Yeah.
That's kind of clever, actually,
Yeah,
how to
really
make your own wreath with these
Yeah, there you go.
things that we grow,
That's
that we
true.
sell loose.
Yeah.
Interesting.
if you have
Give them a kit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've seen a lot of different clever ideas, but I think my favorite, just because I'm kind of a sweets person and I always go for like the farmers that have the pies and the tarts and stuff, but I think it was at the Union Square Market, I think in New York, a few years ago when we were there. A farmer had apples. They were making apple cider. It's an apple farmer, and they had apple cider donuts that they made.
I think that's one of the most popular
It was
items at the Union Square
the
Market in
best.
New York. Yeah.
And we were like shopping for veggies and stuff because we had an Airbnb, so we were cooking, and so we were getting all of our produce. And I was like, yes, apple cider donuts, and they were the best. I bought so many, I ate a pack at the market. Had to go back, but they were so good, and they tasted, for donuts, they tasted fresh, but they tasted really
They did taste fresh.
flavorful because it wasn't some commodity thing, and they were making them, and the farmers were really cool. So
I think actually I went to New York a year later and asked Bridget, what do you guys want me to bring back from New York? She said, apple cider donuts.
if anyone is listening in New York, if you could just send me some apple cider donuts, that'd be great. But I think that's always clever. And then on the other side of that, there's a farmer here, and he keeps talking about it, and I wish he would do it. I haven't seen him do it yet, but since we're so limited with regulations, he grows so much kale. He grows different varieties of kale, and he keeps talking about doing kale chips.
He so should.
And that would be
He should.
so easy for him to do because he could just, he needs to get a cottage food and do all the baking and everything. But I think that'd be great because, again, another great snack at the market, something different. You're not going to just go around eating raw kale, but I would pick up a bag
Saves
of kale
waste,
chips.
too.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. He tells me he throws away so much kale. He goes, I don't know what to do with all this waste. I go, you need to make kale chips. So hopefully he'll get on
That's
that
what I do
wagon.
at home after Dave makes pestos for the weeks and we have extra kale.
Oh, nice. See? So it's a
Kale
perfect
chips,
thing to do with that abundance.
I just got a bag of beet chips at Trader Joe's that's just beets and salt, so the farmers could do them. You just have to slice them thin and either dehydrate them or bake them.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like $2.99. There were probably 15 chips in that bag. I mean, I think the farmers
So
could.
clever.
It's not even
so
like
much
collectively
money.
one
Right.
beet.
So so the margin there is definitely better than selling a bunch of beets, I think.
So we need to make a book for our farmers.
That's
a giveaway.
right.
Here's
Do
a kit.
this.
Do this with your stuff.
Add that to the list of books we need to write.
Right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
many books. So
There's
many
another
books.
education thing, yeah. But people are getting creative. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, thanks for not just calling in, but showing up on our doorstep.
Well, I like to
Texas to San
over-deliver, you know.
Diego, right? yeah.
Thanks for visiting San Diego in the summer from Texas. I know it's really tough for you.
Yeah, I got over it about
Quite a
2 minutes in.
sacrifice.
So.
We're having a heat wave here. It's going to be like 74 here, so I'm really sorry. We're all sweating.
And I'm in long sleeves. So.
Yeah. You can tell the tourists. They're wearing the jackets.
Yep.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our chat with Nick. You can see what he's up to by listening to his podcast, Bootstrap Farmer Radio, and follow him on his Facebook page and his Instagram at State of the Soil. Our Tent Talk team were recent guests on his podcast tour, so check out our episode. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on iTunes to tell us how you liked today's episode. If you want more farmers market tips, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter at intensebusiness.com and follow us on Instagram at intensebusiness. The 2019 Intense Conference will be held in San Diego, February 24th to the 26th. We hope you'll join us.
This podcast is produced by Intense Business, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni-Mead with the help of David Mead. Original music by David Mead. Special thanks to our guest Nick Burton and San Diego Markets.